Here's a quick video on the update of our Dezert Trucks Chevy Silverado. We're going to cover the progress in the cab cage and the engine cage. Let's check it out. So we'll get into some details about this cab cage and engine cage. So the cab cage is all TE Designs, which is a prefabricated cage you can buy from those guys out of Utah. And you know, any qualified fabricator welder can install one of these. Definitely helps if you have experience doing a cab cage. So for the most part, this cage is exactly the way it comes from TE. We did a couple modifications where we made this entry a little smaller so that your feet could get in and out a little better. Because it's a pre-runner, not a race truck. So it didn't need to worry about being T-boned and slammed by somebody. So the cage is all 2-inch with a lot of 1 3/4 tie-ins here and there. We did decide to do the intrusion bars, which that's kind of an option if you don't want to do that. We did have to build our own seat structure. We did put the Cartec seat sliders so that short people, tall people, and so on. There is a dash bar that runs horizontally from the driver's side all the way over to the passenger side. And then the cage is tied in from the A-pillar through the firewall into the engine cage. As far as coming out the back of the cab, for now, we stubbed it out here and terminated it because this is all going to get redone, so we just left that alone. But for the time being, of course, we did attach here just to add the triangulation from, you know, front of truck to back of truck for stiffness while we still enjoy the truck off-road for the rest of the season until we get around to doing the back half. So we mitered these and did a sleeve so that later we could kind of cut it back and then re-sleeve it for the new setup. Obviously, we just got back from Ocotillo. Everything is super dirty. I'm sorry, Barstow. Everything is super dirty. So please excuse the dust. But the truck is getting ready to go over to another shop to have the air conditioning recharged. And I wanted to get this video out of the way. So taking it while it's dirty. So recapping this cab, you have A-pillars that are completely tied in to the frame, and then B-pillars that are completely tied in, terminate down on top of the frame, and then there's a whole back wall. And we also did tie in the cab cage to the cab in several places so that there's no vibration. And when I drove this thing in Barstow the other day, there were just none of those creaks, none of those funky noises. It was great. Super stoked. This is the factory flooring. We kept all factory dash with factory air conditioning and heater. Everything works perfectly. The doors close without smashing into the bars. So eventually the plan is to do a center console, put a shifter in it, put all the switches on the center console, a little bit of storage box here, cup holders, phone chargers, and then we'll get something done in the headliner, and this interior will be pretty dialed at that point. Okay, moving into the engine cage. You can see this is where it's coming through the firewall. And it did keep all of the mechanisms for the windshield wipers. So there's also windshield wipers. I can't tell you how many trucks out there lose their windshield wipers with these cab cages. Again, sorry about the dirt. I should have washed this thing, but we just didn't have time, and I wanted to get this video up. So this is all 2-inch. Metalheads built this custom one off, and it does tie in to the shock towers in 2 places. One there, and there's another one here that goes down to the shock tower, which made a huge difference in rigidity that both Kyler and I noticed the front end of this thing works better. You can feel the difference. Fuse box was custom made by Brian at Metalheads, and keeping everything out of the elements and protected. But at the same time, we also gained a whole bunch of up travel. At some point in time, we talked about maybe going to 40s. So I wanted to make sure there was plenty of room. Obviously, we would need a firewall mod at that point, but at least the inner fender clearance is all done. So we did tube clamps everywhere. I think we might have a plate built in here and put Dezert Trucks on it or something. But obviously the tube clamps are so the engine is removable. Passenger side. This is the KDM fab overflow tank for the radiator. Super nice unit. Way cleaner than the factory plastic one. Brian did come up with this clever little way to do the air cleaner. Fits in there well. It's not hard to get that air cleaner out to clean it. Here, this side's got a good example of how the engine cage is tied into the top of the hoop in 2 spots. Man, sorry for doing this with it all dirty. Just look through the dirt. But overall, we are really, really happy with this thing. There's where it was tied into the sheet metal of the cab to the actual cab cage. And Kyler feels so much safer and secure in the truck with his girlfriend. On top of that, the truck works better. So I just love keeping all the creature comforts of a vehicle with a full cab cage. And I think it was executed really well in the design from TE. And Brian at Metalheads did a great job installing it. And of course, we love our PRP seats and harnesses. So, you know, this thing's ever evolving. We're got more plans for it this summer, just step by step. So thanks for watching this video. If you could like this video, subscribe to our channel, we would really appreciate it. And we will see you guys on the next one.